earth. Some people believe it symbolizes the 9 realms. Other people believe it's a portal. It's on the tomb of Viking warriors that died honorably in battle without fear and got to go to Valhalla.
And when you say these are awarded tattoos, but these are self-awarded. You awarded yourself these tattoos. No one else was above you doing this.
Well, I was self-initiated into my shamanic path, but like I said, God and the angels have been with me every step of the way. So when I have earned one of these tattoos, then it is made clear to me through spiritual means.
Now what about, because people have told me that these tattoos on you are similar to the tattoos that the Christchurch shooter had. You know who I'm talking about?
Are you talking about that dude?
Yeah, shot the whole island. All those kids and stuff. Yeah, he had the same kind of tattoos.
Well, I haven't heard that.
Okay,
but here's the thing, dude. Look at it like this: all throughout history, symbols of power have drawn the attention and have been used by people that seek more power. Okay, I don't seek power. I don't seek status. I don't seek, fortune. What I seek is purpose. What I seek is making a difference. And so if you look at, for example, the swastika, for a long, long time, thousands and thousands of years, that was a symbol of peace amongst cultures all over the planet. But what did Adolf Hitler do? A man seeking power took this symbol of power and this symbol of peace, and he inverted it, and then he twisted it, and he made it a symbol for war and division.
Gotcha.
Okay?
So you wouldn't say that you have the same beliefs as the Christchurch shooter?
Hell no.
Okay, all right, just checking. Now, I'm curious now, how did you, well, first of all, what inspired you to go to Washington, D.C. on January 6th? How did you get there? Did you go with a friend or a group? Who paid for all this? How did you wind up over there?
Well, I got there by the divine grace of God, I'll tell you that much, because I really didn't have the means of transportation or financial means to get myself there, especially on January 6th. But what's interesting is that, I also went on December 12th for the second MAGA Million March that was there in D.C. And similar story, man, like the synchronicities that occurred in order to get me from A to B were absolutely incredible. And it's things like these synchronicities that it's like, okay, God, I know that you're with me. I know that you're watching. I'm just going to trust you.
So you don't think it's possible that some kind of a nefarious intelligence agency kind of, because you talk about how the Mockingbird Press twisted your beliefs in your presentation. You don't think it's possible that you were delivered over there in some kind of way against your intentions?
No. I know. Dude, there's so many synchronicities, so much crazy stuff that happened before January 6th, so many miraculous things that occurred before that date, that all of these synchronicities that happened to get me from A to B, either in December or in January, were just a part of a long string of beautiful and incredible miraculous synchronicities that, to me, were evidence of God, being with me on my path.
Okay, so no guy in a trench coat befriended you shortly before and handed you money as a ticket.
No, nothing like that.
Nothing that obvious, anyway. But you don't think that there's any kind of a.
Well, it would be a mistake for them to do something like that. If their goal is to destroy the country, then why would they choose a guy that could literally dismantle the deep state in 5 minutes with words? Why would they choose him to be the straw man?
Now, you get there are photographs of you like the night before with Rudy Giuliani.
That wasn't the night before. That was in Arizona.
Oh, really?
That was when he was here in Arizona exposing the election rigging here in Arizona. I think that was sometime in either November or December. I can't remember. I think it was sometime in December.
And besides that picture, did you have any contact with him?
Nope. I just got into there. I got into the lecture or the presentation. He was about to sit down and start on his, the second part of his presentation. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I get a picture really quick?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. All right, let's do it." And so if you look at the picture, he's not even looking at the camera. I'm shaking his hand. I'm looking at the camera going, "Oh, hell yeah." Right. And he's like looking over off in another direction. It was 2 seconds. I never even actually talked to the guy.
Now, what happens when you do it's like a vote election rigging presentation. What happens when a guy like you walks in there with that outfit?
But I didn't have the outfit on.
Oh, there
I
wasn't.
had a
Oh,
suit
no.
on.
Oh, okay. I thought I did see an outfit. Okay, I'm sorry. It's been so long. Now, the day, though, now, one thing that always struck me about the photographs of you inside the Capitol, first of all, how'd you get inside?
Well, because there was a riot. Like, people broke in the building. That's how. And I walked through the open doors that they broke into the building with.
Gotcha. And
I walked through those open doors. But, I mean, when I got into the Senate chamber, that's because I was escorted there by the police, because I offered to help them. I told them there were people in the Senate chamber. I said, if you want, I can go in there and help you guys, like, make sure nobody steals anything or vandalizes any property, nobody's violent. You know, I can even help you clear the room if you want. And they're like, yeah, come on, let's go. You got your megaphone? Let's do this.
because they considered you like a leader?
Well, no, I came to them because it was my intention to ensure everything was peaceful on that day, especially in that sacred building. The Capitol building, along with all the other Washington monuments, are built on electromagnetic ley lines that are equivalent to like temples of sorts. So because they're built on ley lines, because they're equivalent to like modern day temples, I wanted to ensure that everything that happened inside that building was peaceful and calm, that there was no chaos, no violence, no bloodshed.
As soon as you walked into the building, though, you stood out from everybody else. You garnered a lot of attention, and a lot of photographers came to you. You didn't bring your own photographer with you, did you?
No.
Because some of these, it seems like you're posing for a lot of these photos.
Well, I'm just really photogenic, I guess. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, and oftentimes they'd be taking a picture of you, and it would look like you were shouting. But were you actually shouting?
Yeah, I was screaming freedom,
okay,
or I was singing my shamanic song. One or the other.
What do you make of the participation of Capitol Police? Do you think they were in on this?
If you look into the testimony of Tariq Johnson, the Capitol Police officer that was the one that evacuated the Senate and was trying to evacuate the House, and what he said is actually there's a interview or the spaces I did with him on my Twitter or on my X account. If you go to my page, he talks about a woman named Yogananda Pittman being the chief intelligence officer for the Capitol Police, and the role that she played along with her underling, a woman named Julie Farnham, I believe is her name, and how these people suppressed intelligence and suppressed the information about there being possible violence and a riot or something at the Capitol. They did not give it to Chief Sund, the gentleman, the chief of police for Capitol Police that recently did an interview with Tucker Carlson. They suppressed that intelligence. They didn't get it to him. So Chief Sund had no idea. And Yogananda Pittman refused to allow the National Guard to come in, that she refused to allow the chambers to be evacuated. She was not conversing whatsoever with Tariq Johnson as he's begging her and pleading with her to please let them evacuate the chambers. If it wasn't for Officer Johnson, there would have been senators in the Senate chamber when I was in the building, and then at that point there would be individuals that would be allowed to use deadly force. Yeah. So I think that, and this is just my opinion, I think people like Pelosi and McConnell, people like the intelligence agencies that knew all this stuff was going to go down, people like Yogananda Pittman and Julie Farnham, I think that they wanted the bloodshed. I think that they wanted the congressman to be put in danger so that it could look as bad as humanly possible for Trump and his supporters.
Well, then what was the goal of the supporters? It wasn't to interfere with the counting of the electors?
I don't know why people were doing what they're doing, man. If you look into the situation, there was clearly BLM and Antifa in the crowd.
Really?
That were there to agitate and do harm. There's people that were feds that were in the crowd that were inciting the breaking of the law and all sorts of other things. They were, egging people on. And that's no surprise. That's not the first time the feds have done stuff like that and then arrested people. So if you ask me, what the purpose of it was, I probably couldn't tell you because I had no idea that it was even going to happen.
Well, Jake Angeli, let me ask you this, because you've been accused of doing that same thing, that you were in collusion with Ray Epps to make everybody look bad. What do you make of that, then?
Well, I'll say this much. Part of psychological warfare operations is muddying the water, obscuring the truth. That way, when the real information, the true information is out there, there's so much disinformation and misinformation that nobody knows what to believe.
Right.
I think that the reason why people think that is because they are terrified of the fact that they don't know what the hell is going on, and that scares them a lot. So they try to piece together in their minds the most likely scenario based on the very little information that they have. I would say that if anybody wants to try to compare me to Ray Epps, I would say look at the treatment that Ray Epps got in the media and by the government, and then parallel that and contrast that with the treatment that I got in the media and the treatment that I got from the government.
Meaning that you actually went to prison. Yeah, you actually went to prison.
Yeah,
Ray Epps has been barely questioned. Okay.
Well, and the media has gone out to bat for this guy.
Yeah.
The media tried to destroy me. The government said all sorts of stuff about me that they should have been saying about Ray Epps.
Do you think this was an attempted coup?
You know, I saw a meme that I thought was pretty funny. It said January 6th will, and this is the meme. It said January 6th will forever go down in history as the day that the government staged a riot to cover up a clearly fraudulent election.
Gotcha. So you still believe that the election was rigged?
Dude, every American election since 1913 has been rigged. It's not an election process, it's a selection process. And if we understand the way that the deep state works, how it relates to fiat currency, how it relates to child and human trafficking and blackmail, how it relates to people like Jeffrey Epstein or things like the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group, the Fed, the Federal Reserve Bank, you know, all of these things. If we understand the real inner workings of the system, then it becomes quite clear that we do not live in a constitutional republic anymore. We do not live in a quote-unquote democracy. Okay, and we never lived in a democracy. We lived in a constitutional republic. But the point is that constitutional republic has been suspended over and over and over again because when you have a state of an emergency, if the feds declare a state of emergency, then the Constitution goes out the window. Okay, so they're going to continue to create states of national emergency so that they can keep throwing the Constitution out the window. And that's what we have. That's what we've been dealing with for some time. They create crisis after crisis after crisis, and each time they do, they centralize power more and more and more to the bureaucratic state, to the authoritarian centralized power state.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, though, at one point you were willing to testify against Trump at the impeachment hearings?
That was something that my previous attorney said to the media.
Okay.
My previous attorney did and said all sorts of things on my behalf without my knowledge and my consent.
Gotcha. Okay, then let me ask you this. Okay, so we have January 6th, and they splashed you all over the place. You did stick out, okay? But they splashed you all over the place with these very well-taken photos, very photogenic, like you said. Okay, I suspected you brought your own photographer, or some kind of professional photographer has found you, you know, and then, you know, really.
No, what happened is that there was a bunch of media members. Inside of the building because they were certifying the election.
Right.
So because there was a bunch of media members already inside the building because they were certifying the election, there was all these professional media members inside the building when, you know, everything took place, when everything went down.
Gotcha. How soon after that day did you realize, hey, I might be getting arrested?
Well, when I found out the FBI was looking for me on January 7th, I pretty much figured that might be the case. Now, they said they were only looking for me for misdemeanors, and I was under the impression that the FBI didn't waste their time on misdemeanors. I guess I was wrong. You know, so I just, as far as I knew, I was just going to turn myself in for questioning.
Right.
And, you know, they told me they weren't going to arrest me, and I naively believed them.
And you went in without a lawyer?
That is correct.
When you went in to talk to the FBI,